It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah. What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX. Welcome back to another episode of the 3 on PLAXtv. And this one gonna be a doozy. This one is definitely gonna be a doozy. I am discussing Kevin Durant. And as some of y'all may or may not know, if you've been watching the 3, I've done a handful of these episodes so far. I am the biggest KD hater. And I own that. I am the biggest KD hater outside of people that maybe live in Oklahoma City. I think I may be the biggest KD hater, but it's with warrant. It's not unwarranted. It's definitely with warrant. I have reasons to not like Kevin Durant, and I'm going to get into that, but I'm going to try to just basically break down why KD isn't what most of you think he is. He's at the bottom line is he's not that guy, not the way people think he is. And I will say I am the biggest KD hater with warrant, but hate is still hate. But with that being said, I'd like to add on Kevin Durant is if he's not the greatest, he's damn near close. He is the greatest scorer I have ever seen in basketball history. Not even I've ever seen, just in basketball history. If he's not the greatest, he's close as fuck. He at the borderline if he's not the great. He is the greatest all-around scorer, the greatest bucket getter, probably the most unstoppable offensive threat in NBA history, because the motherfucker is 7 feet tall. He dribbles like a point guard. He can shoot like any shooting guard in NBA history. He shoots just as well or even better than most. His mid-range game is impeccable. His three-point game is impeccable. He can post up. On the offensive and defense, he's a great defender too. But on offense, the motherfucker is unstoppable. And he may be the greatest offensive threat in NBA history. Kevin Durant is who you make on 2K when you're creating a player. Like when I kid you, hand up here, I kid you not. When I was a kid and I first started playing 2K, I made Kevin Durant. He wasn't around yet. I'm sure he was like in middle school or something like that at the time, or high school. But I made 7 foot tall guys that could dribble and shoot and play defense. That's Kevin Durant. So as much as I don't like him, that's just a fact. That's just, as a basketball fan, that motherfucker is unstoppable most of the time. Unless you got like a Giannis, or even he cooked Giannis. Unless you got like a Giannis or like another 7 foot tall guy on him that's mobile, you're probably done. You're getting cooked. So I would like to say that on top of it, even though I'm a Kevin Durant hater, I'm realistic. I understand who he is. Don't get me wrong. But I'm about to get into why he's not that guy. He has proven time and time again that he's not him the way we portray him as a basketball community and the way we look at him as a basketball community. And I think it's because he's so unstoppable. He's so much of an unstoppable scorer that we look at him that way, and we put him on that pedestal. To start, he gave up on OKC. Now, I agreed. I've said this a lot. I agreed with him leaving OKC. I felt like once they got rid of Harden, it was pretty much like the experiment was done. Not because like Russ's game is a certain way. They were very young. KD, as I'm gonna get into more as we go on, isn't the leader type, and Harden, even though like he didn't have like in the playoffs, he didn't have like some of the best games. I feel like he was needed, and I feel like they should have kept him, and they should have kept the core of Russ, KD, Harden, and Serge by any means necessary. They didn't do that, and it just didn't end up working out. I think if they would have kept that core, they could have won a championship. I do believe that. But I agree with him leaving OKC. What I didn't agree with and what I didn't like is the team he went to, which was the Golden State Warriors, who had just went to the finals, just went 73-9, the most historic record, the greatest record in NBA history. I thought that was corny. And people like to blame Russ for them losing that last series that they had together, but Russ' game ain't changed. Russ' game ain't changed. Even to this day, Russ' game has been the same. Full throttle, 100 miles an hour, going to get it. That's his game. And that's been his game. From then to now. From a rookie to now. It's been that way. And it hasn't changed. KD was the one who got them up 3-1 with Russ, obviously. They went up 3-1 against Golden State. And for some reason, those last 3 games, KD forgot how to play basketball. That's the one time I seen him not be dominant, I think. Those final 3 games against Golden State in that series, dude was back home. Dude wasn't even on the court. Not because of injury or anything like that. He just gave the fuck up. That's what I mean by gave up on OKC. He dis-a-fucking-peered. Blew a 3-1 lead. And then he goes to the team that he lost to. That don't seem kind of corny to y'all? That don't seem kind of suspicious?
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
And then we find out later on, Draymond and Steph was chatting with him about coming to the team prior to the series. Anyway, that don't seem a little off to y'all. That's off to me. That's crazy. Maybe, you have bad games, but 3 bad games back to back to back to close out the series and go to the finals. I'm not saying they would have won. They could have lost that, in the finals, but it's about getting there. You just got to get there, you know what I'm saying? And I just think to blow a 3-1 lead and then go to the team that beat you and then find out later on that team was already like in your ear about coming to join them anyway. I think that's just gross. Like, that's gross business. That's like when Bron came back from 3-1 against Golden State, and then Steph was like, fuck it, and went to Cleveland the next season. That's what that is. Blowing a 3-1 lead to a team. First of all, chatting with a team that you about to play against in a series about going to that team is crazy within itself, even though Draymond came to him, as far as I understand. But I would have stopped it right there, like, bro, what are you like? We about to play against each other. Shut up. Like, I'm about to cook you. We'll talk in the off season, but right now I'm about to cook you. That's just me. But you talk to a team before you even play them in the series. You play them. You go up 3-1. The series is basically over because not a lot of teams have come back from a 3-1 lead, a 3-1 deficit, and at that point, I think only the Cavs had done that, I believe, or maybe the Cavs hadn't even done it yet. I don't think. You lose to them, they come back from a 3-1 lead, they beat you, and then you end up on that team the very next season. So that happens. You go to Golden State, and he dominates. They win 2 championships. They would have won 3 if it wasn't for the injuries. I think I almost guaranteed they could have beat the Raptors. It just KD was hurt. Clay was hurt. Like, it was just a bunch of injuries that just kept them from winning. But they won 2 championships, almost won 3. But those championships, you have them, Kevin Durant, but they're not really yours. Because those 2 championships probably are the easiest championships in NBA history. The reason I say that is because Golden State has proven that before you and after you, they could win championships, a championship, before you and after you, with Clay, Steph, Draymond, and their supporting cast. They won before you, and they won after you last year. They've proven that they can win with or without you because Golden State, as constructed with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Steve Kerr at the helm as coach, is one of the greatest basketball teams in NBA history. That's not even a debate. They just are. They're a dynasty. They're an NBA dynasty. You, on the other hand, sir, haven't won a goddamn thing before them or after them. And it's not like you haven't been in situations to win because, again, OKC, you could have won there. Granted, you guys are younger, and, you know, the GM made a dumbass move by getting rid of Hart, and that's true. All of that is true. But you could have won there. There were pockets and times where you guys could have won there. You could have tried a little bit harder in Brooklyn. I'm gonna get into Brooklyn in a second. You could have went a little bit harder in Brooklyn and tried to win. Granted, again, the issues with Kyrie Irving, the issues with James Harden, the issues with Ben Simmons, but that's what you and Kyrie put together. You guys put that team together. The coach, the teammates, you guys put that together. So that's on you. But I'm going to get into that in a second. And then now, you're in Phoenix. And the Nuggets just got you the fuck up out of there. And on the flip side, Golden State continues to prove how great they are as a team without you. And granted, you were the best player on that team. And I'm not trying to be stupid. Like, you were the best player on that team. But it was a cakewalk. It was a cakewalk the entire time. You have Steph Curry. Let me backtrack. Sorry. You yourself, like I just said in the beginning of the video, is the greatest, probably most unstoppable scoring threat in NBA history and a good defender. You have Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history. Klay Thompson, top 3 to top 5 greatest shooter in NBA history. Draymond Green, as much as people like to downplay Draymond Green, he is the greatest role player, teammate, obviously not best player, but he's one of the greatest role players in NBA history. He goes down there with Danny Ainge and Jeff Hornacek and all of guys like that. Well, not Jeff Hornacek, but guys that have won championships. They might not have been the best player, but they contributed a hell of a lot to the team's winning. Big Shot Bob, guys like that. Draymond goes in that category, whether you want to believe it or not. That's just what it is. Steve Kerr, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history and one of the greatest supporting casts in NBA history. Iguodala, Sean Livingston, all those guys. It was a cakewalk. And to reiterate, all Golden State needs is a two-way small forward to be successful. Andrew Wiggins last year. Harrison Barnes in the first one. Andre Iguodala. Those guys are good players. Don't get me wrong. No disrespect to them, especially Iguodala. Good players, really good players. But it just proves that they didn't need you to win. I still think they win one of those championships without you. Maybe not both, because that, going back to back is tough. Especially when you not like stacking the deck the way they did by adding you. But they still win one of those championships without you. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I don't think I'm wrong, because they just won a championship last year and they old and burnt out now. Steph and them and Clay's great still, but he's not the same. Draymond not as good as he was before. Iggy ain't even playing. They're old and burnt out, and they still won last year. So I think they definitely win one of those championships without you in those 2 years that you were there. Andrew Wiggins, Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Durant. It doesn't matter. A decent two-way small forward, Golden State can win. And that's just facts. Then you go to Brooklyn and you waste our time because you're not a leader. You talk shit about your teammates publicly, even though most of the guys that you mentioned were having probably their greatest seasons they ever had, like Nick Claxton and Edmund Sumners, all those guys. Yuta, they were playing amazing basketball, but you decided to call them bums on national TV like a goddamn idiot, and then expect team morale to be up. But never once did you say anything bad about Kyrie Irving, James Harden, or Ben Simmons, the motherfuckers that were actually not doing anything or fucking up. Harden putting on his fat suit, not wanting to play. Kyrie and all his bullshit. I'm getting angry. Wow, fuck. Ben Simmons and his shit. You never said anything about them. You talked about the guys that were actually with you on the court on a regular basis. Consistent basis. That were playing hard. Yeah, they're not the greatest players in the world. Don't get me wrong. But those guys were putting in the work and playing hard. And what do? You call them bums. Basically call them bums on national TV. Or to a reporter or whatever. Saying, what do you expect me to do with Nick Claxton, Edmund Sumners, Yuta Watanabe, and blah, 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 and other guys? What do you expect me to do? What did you think that was going to accomplish by saying that? Did you think, like on 2K, did you think you got plus 10 teammate chemistry on that? And your first mistake was listening to Kyrie Irving. You know Kyrie's a prima donna. You know Kyrie only does what he wants to do. Now you obviously, no one predicted the pandemic or anything like that, but you know Kyrie better than anybody else does, probably, besides like his family members and his real close friends. You know how he is. But you listen to him and his pitch to go to Brooklyn just to waste our time. And then complained about it and demanded trades and all of that shit. You had a decent playoff run, that one playoff run. I think it was last year. But, we couldn't get that done because of your big ass feet. And Kyrie wasn't around. And you requested a trade not once but twice. At least one of them was privately. So I respect that, I guess. And now he's in Phoenix. Made Phoenix an instant favorite to win a championship. Granted, they only played like 20 games, regular season games together, less than that because he was hurt again. But like 15 regular season games together. So with that, that's tough. That's tough for anybody to make happen, even with great players. him and Dev actually have been playing great together. I'm actually scared to see what they do in the future because those two motherfuckers, it's just tough. You can't do nothing with Dev. You can't do nothing with KD. That's tough. That's very tough. But they also blatantly ran out of gas because this last game that just was on last night, the closeout game or potential closeout game, you guys just gave the fuck up. KD didn't score. Kind of like his performance in OKC. It's funny how that comes full circle like that. I didn't even plan that. That just kind of hit me. He kind of just disappeared in this last game after they basically dominated. Like they had some on and off games, but Dev and KD were cooking the Nuggets. It was everybody else that wasn't doing anything, and Monty Williams, his rotations was garbage. But Dev and KD specifically were cooking the entire series. I'll give them that. They was going crazy, except for this last game here. Just ran out of gas, I guess. And now you're at home again. And I haven't even gotten into like the consistent like just injury issues, but that's because you're a 7 foot tall shooting guard. That's like Anthony Davis. Like Anthony Davis, I talk shit about him getting hurt all the time, but like he's 7 foot tall, playing like kind of like a small forward. I guess that's tough on your body. So I'm not gonna get into that too much. But you're also very much injury prone. On top of all that other stuff of being a prima donna and the Twitter fingers and the giving up on teams and the just and then not understanding why people don't fuck with you. Like, at least if you're gonna be an asshole, you gotta at least be like, oh well, like I'm an asshole, that's why don't nobody like fuck with me like that. You are like, oh, I don't know why people don't fuck with me. People just stupid. And granted, some people are just stupid, but that's not why they don't like you, my guy. I just feel like as a community, we talk about KD as like this like GOAT-esque guy. We put him in the talks with LeBron sometimes and Kobe and Jordan and guys like that, and he's just not there. He's not that guy the way we as a basketball community portray him to be. And I'm glad that after the Sun series, I've seen people actually realizing that. It took a while, but I see people actually realizing that now. He is an unstoppable scorer. He is a very good defender. But what else is he? He's not a leader. He disappears. He's injury prone. If he doesn't get his way, he's going to take his ball and run away if he doesn't get his way the way he wants it. And he can't get the job done. He has 2 championships, but those 2 championships have asterisks next to him. He was one of the greatest teams to ever exist in basketball. And not like got drafted to or whatever or traded to. He bandwagon hopped to that team after they beat him. After he blew a 3-1 lead. I don't know. The bottom line of this video is KD isn't that guy the way the media and his fans portray him to be. That's my personal opinion. But let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree. I know this probably might be a little bit of a doozy. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit on this one, but it's just how I feel. It's my personal opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy that loves basketball. But without further ado, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace.
It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah.